Hello and welcome to Merryvale. I am the Merryvale winemaker Andrew Wright alongside the Starmont winemaker Jeff Crawford. We are here today to talk to you about I think one of our kind of under the radar favorite wines that we have in our portfolio, and that is our Coombsville Merlot. Merlot is one of those varietals that is kind of classically French. We think about red wine. Merlot is one of those wines that always kind of comes to mind. In Napa Valley, further north in the valley, it doesn't grow as well. So we really like our Merlot coming from further south in the valley where it's a little bit cooler. And I think it allows the Merlot to kind of shine with acidity as well as kind of those plush, velvety tannins.
Absolutely, and I think 2018 was a great year for the Merlot.
For sure.
Long growing season, managed to keep things very elegant, not getting too hot because Merlot doesn't do well in the heat. To your point about up valley versus down valley, it's one of the reasons why in Bordeaux that you talked about, Merlot is planted as a hedge against poor vintages. It's earlier ripening, so in a vintage where the Cab and Cab Franc isn't getting ripe, you'll see more higher percentage Merlot into those blends to help round things out a little bit. Clearly, we don't have that type of issue here in California,
no, we don't.
At the same time, having that earlier ripening varietal in a cooler climate, I think, brings out the best of Napa Valley Merlot.
I couldn't agree more. You have the bright acidity from the cooler region, as you mentioned, but to me, you still have that classic Merlot character. I always think of Merlot as like a purple velvet pillow. That's just how that wine always makes me feel. And this definitely has that. It's soft, it's plush, it's kind of like luxurious. You just want to kind of sink into it, but at the same time, it's got that bright acidity. It's got some tension to it. It's got a little bit of like a little forest floor herb de Provence herbal-y thing going on, and I mean that in the best way possible. It's a really interesting wine. I think it kind of showcases as like a Napa Bordeaux, I guess would be the way that I would put that.
Yeah, and I think for me that kind of herbal element of Merlot is very important. It's one of the markers for me for this varietal. So if you get the fruit too ripe to where it's only just fruit and berries and kind of beyond that kind of little herbal kind of acidic core that you get down in the cooler climates, this coming from Coombsville, perfect example is you still maintain that kind of tension that you're talking about between the elegance and the ripeness versus that kind of herbal element, and just adds layers of complexity. And I really enjoy it.
Yeah, it's a really great wine. I also think it's a great food wine too. One of the things we love about Merryvale wines and making Merryvale wines and Starmont wines is, having these kind of really well-constructed, classically made wines that pair well with food. And so for me, Merlot, especially this style, I always think barbecue. For me, like Merlot and ribs is kind of like one of my go-to favorite pairings.
Merlot and hamburgers?
Merlot and hamburgers.
If you want to take it there.
Yeah. I mean, who doesn't want to take it there? So sourced from, majority of this comes from Vineyard Quail Knoll in Coombsville. The rest of it comes from Forella and a little bit of Truchard over on the Carneros side. So great pedigree, classically made, Napa Bordeaux Merlot, I guess I would say. So MerryvaleWines.com.
There's a deal.
There's a deal.
Get a bunch.
There's always a deal. Get a bunch.
Cheers.